Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and today I am going to bring you one of my first successful melee builds in the game, as well as just a fun little balanced build that you can try out and see what you think of it. Now, before we go any further, let's go ahead and roll the d20 and see what soundtrack it gets. La la la. Alright, I guess we're doing piano songs today. Alright, so boom, boom. There we go. Alright, so this build starts with, of all things, the Awe Robe. Imagine that. Yes, I know a lot of my builds involve the Awe Robe, but there's a reason for that. The Awe Robe is perhaps one of the greatest rewards you can get out of a robe, because it's not only boosting your critical hit chance, but also its damage, which means you can actually get pretty consistent and powerful hits out of this robe. And that's part of the reason why it shows up as one of my most used robes. So for the signature, we're going to be taking Blazing Lariat. For the standard, as soon as I find it, we're taking Bouncing Bubble. Now, as soon as I unlocked Chaotic Rift, that was pretty much my main go-to for dash, but before you get Chaotic Rift, I recommend Wavefront. And before Bladed Vines was a thing, I would use Bolt Rail. But in order to make better use of the in order to make better use of the Dark Katana, I would recommend Ice Dagger, Radiant Blast if you're okay with that, Bladed Vine, Severing Slash or Wind Slash are both pretty good, and Flame Strike is also a pretty good melee. You can also use 2 out of the 3 Chaos. Pardon me, I just finished eating and throat is still just a little gooey. But you can use either of the 2 Chaos basics in order to make the best use out of Dark Katana. For my purposes, I'm going to be using Bladed Vine. So, we've got Bladed Vine, Wavefront, Bouncing Bubbles, and Blazing Lariat. Now, one thing I'm going to be doing here that I didn't do when I was first playing the game is I am going to, of course, be taking the Retro Floor Plan. 2 reasons. 1, 2 reasons why I didn't use the Retro Floor Plan is 1, when the game first came out back in 2018, it wasn't a thing. And 2, even if it was, I had I was a little nervous about grabbing cursed relics at the very front of a run. Alright, I'm not looking to start anywhere specific, so we're just gonna go. Somehow I'm not surprised that we find Atlas at spot number 3 when I'm trying to show off a melee build, so... The reason why that worries me is, of course, because of the Earth Knights and their proclivity to lock you down with... their proclivity to lock you down with things like... Well, with the one thing they can lock you down with, honestly. That would, of course, be the Toxic Bolus. But yeah, let's look at the build a little bit more carefully. So you've got plenty of good area control with both the Lariat and the Bubbles. The Vines for a melee attack actually have really good range, and their sweeps can actually reach slightly off to one side. So you've got good coverage with this build. So you've got control, you've got a good ranged attack, and you've got a decent number of hits to try to make that critical hit chance work out in your favor. Alright, I will probably end up taking the tapping gloves, but I want to see what Iris has for sale first. On another point, what are you guys thinking of Eyes in the Dark so far? Now, I personally really like the game, and I think that might become something regular on my channel. I think the developers at Under the Stairs did a really good job with the game, and I'm really enjoying playing it. It's just the sort of challenge that I like. There's exploration, there's platforming, there's fighting, and it's all done with a really fun aesthetic that I very much appreciate. Alright, so as you can see, we've got a good number of options here, and thanks to the retro floor plan, we've got plenty of money to afford them. But before we start dropping money, let's be a little patient. And see if either Dr. Song or Nocturne show up. Well, we got Cremire, and that's not the greatest thing in the world, but oh my goodness, look at that. We have got some beautiful options for melee criticals here. Alright. We're definitely taking Shearing Chain. And then we'll take Burn Cycle. I'll grab Bubble Slaps just because it's a personal favorite, but for this particular run, it's actually probably not the strongest choice. Alright, so now let's go ahead and upgrade. Now we're going to come back here, grab the tapping gloves. Now, I would highly recommend trying to find a good jump arcana, since that works well with the Dark Katana. Like, if you can get Blazing Vaults, that's probably your best option, but you're not going to go wrong with any of them. Ooh, heartbeat. I'm just trying to understand why the game says I didn't clear out enough enemies, but oh well, it's not a big deal. So another thing about a lot of the melee arcana that I do like to use is that they all involve you moving in some way. So even if you don't necessarily get a jump arcana, most of your arcana will involve movement in some way. So Soccer Cleats is also a really good find just because of that. It also means that when you use them, you reposition yourself just a bit. It's usually enough to take you out of striking range of most enemies. None of those are particularly great, but I'll keep them in mind for later. It also just so happens that... Well, it just so happens that that's useless. It also just so happens that Blazing Lariat not only do you move while you're using it, but you just get a nice couple of strong sweeping hits. And I might come back for either the Mirror Shield or the other thing I saw there that looked interesting. Alright, so once again, before I drop the money on upgrading Node... Oh wait, yeah, it's Nox. Okay, so yeah, we're just gonna upgrade both of these. And if I get enough money, I'll probably come back for Thunder Drop. Actually, no, not Thunder Drop. Owie. That's one of the big reasons why I like using Blazing Lariat, is because it's not only an effective melee attack, but it's got great range. It really helps you control the field when things are looking nuts. And that is a heavy reason why I recommend it as your signature. It's not just because it's melee, but because it's melee and it's got great range. Like, you can get a lot done with it. Alright, we'll grab the pendulum. Just make sure our combat options are set and ready to go. Earth and Thunder. I mean, neither one of them are going to do great against Atlas, but... You know, I'm not complaining. I have Sylvan help. That's never a bad thing. Remember, we have the tapping glove, and that's why I'm intentionally going out of my way to use my basic first before I launch into a bigger attack. There we go. Not for this run. Line shock agents are good, but for this run, I want to keep what I've got. How are you still alive? Took the full brunt of my signature cast and just tanked it. Just seriously face tanked the entire spell. Ugh. I hate the runes that limit your available movement. So there are a couple of things here I wouldn't mind taking. It's just going to be a matter of making sure I have enough money. Yeah, the higher level elemental knights can really make it difficult on you to use melee. The fire knights have ignition rush. The earth knights can just hold you still with toxic bolus, and then just beat the ever-loving bejesus out of you. Water knights have a shield. Thunder knights have that lightning strike that they use as a counterattack. Like, knights in general just make melee-based builds difficult. Yeah, she's got nothing here that's really standing out to me. Now over here, I like both candies, but I think the Pathfinder's knapsack is going to have to take priority. And another thing that you need to understand when playing melee is that because you would do most of your work closer to the enemy, that means that you either need to have really good control over the battlefield, or you need to be very mindful of your health. Now, admittedly, that isn't a bad defensive option. But we're gonna go all offense. Why? Because fuck it, I said so. Here we go. Now, because I have the Pathfinder's knapsack, I want to make sure I'm getting up to 100% exploration. That way I get the most healing from it. It's exactly what I wanted. That was not smart. Alright. God, 431 damage. What am I doing? Oh yeah, Earth Knights also have their stone version of Permafrost Bulwarks, so, you know, they can really ruin my day. So you definitely want to play it a little bit more careful, because Knights in general will tend to make melee a difficult proposition. Owie! Why did I try using that attack when I knew it was on cooldown? Now, one thing that I haven't been doing great with this build is that I haven't been opening fights with the bouncing bumps like I should be, because that's generally going to be your only ranged option, but it's also a good long-lasting ranged option. Like, even here in the heat of things, with twice as many enemies as normal, it still does a good job at thinning the herd of it. Or just keeping the enemies held back just long enough for me to set things up. Yes, I see Nox over there. I hope he's got something good for me. entirely. Because for a build like this, you don't want that because it's going to have your critical hit chance. Now, I've been thinking about this and just doing a little bit of theory crafting. The Stealthy Haladi is really only good when you're using attacks that just do one single powerful hit. So an unenhanced Meteor Strike, Exploding Fireball, or Knockout Boulder would probably be your best bet. So if you're planning on doing a build around those, then I would recommend the Stealthy Haladi, but otherwise... Okay, their attack has a slightly larger hitbox than I had thought. That's what I get for, trying to think. Definitely want that. We're making plenty of money. We don't need the Hand of Midas, or Glove of Midas, I guess. I am going to take that as a safety precaution, though, and I'm sure you know why. And yes, long story short, Atlas hates me. See, that time, the bubbles were actually good for building up my meter to the rest of the way for a signature, and that made that route much easier. And then that brings me to another positive of the Blazing Lariat, which is you don't need to be very precise with it. It's just a big sweeping bar of fire. It's like having a really big. It's like having access to a really big, like Mario Fire Stick. Dark Sages are called fire bars. I know that. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a bit of a chance, and we're going to grab that, and we're going to hope that Nox gives us the Crimson Clover on one of the next two floors. I do not want that, actually. Now, one thing to remember about using the Tapping Glove. The Tapping Glove says following up a basic Arcana with another Arcana increases its critical hit chance. It doesn't say a basic Arcana string, so you can do that and be just fine. You'll still get your bonus. And you've probably seen me doing that. Now, these two are a lot easier when you have projectiles to work with, but I still say they're the easiest boss in the game. There we go. You're a good spell, but not for this build. Sorry, buddy. Alright, here is the area that I was worried about. So let's see if I have a reason to be worried about this area. Now, you'll notice that not only because there are double the number of enemies, but because Earth Knights are so freaking dangerous, I am going to be playing this one a little bit more carefully than I normally do. I hit the wrong button. Okay, so it didn't quite work out, but we have one more chance, and honestly, I'm not against taking either the anchor or the glass cannon. By the way, for just a general critical hit build, not a melee-based one, Dragon Dive can get a lot of work. Yeah, see what I mean by the Earth Knights? They took me down basically from full health to just about nothing in one attack string, just because they have access to Mirror Shield and something that forces me to not move. Which, yes, the Earth Archers have that as well, but you'll see the Knights more often. Okay, I am definitely in trouble. Okay, we really need to find Anders, like, right now or I am toast. Fortunately, he's right here. Now remember, the Anchor of Burden, even though it slows you down, increases not just your damage, but also your stun values, so that makes things like the bubbles even more useful. I mean, no, I'm just not gonna take that. It's not awful, but you can definitely do better. Yeah, that one room accounted for most of that 470 damage, by the way. Now do you understand why I say that Earth Knights are the most dangerous thing in the game? And you can disagree with me if you want, but I mean, just understand that you will be wrong. Actually, let's just go ahead and say it like it is. The Earth-based enemies are the most dangerous enemies in the game, pretty much bar none. Here, get a little bit more health out of that. Yeah, this floor is scary. Oh, there's Blazing Bolt. A little late to be useful, though. No, maybe not. I'm gonna grab it. I wish I had it earlier so I could jump over some of these dangerous attacks. Oh, I am in so much trouble. Alright, I'm being quiet because I'm really trying to concentrate on not getting dead. Bunny ears. Alright, you know what? Sure, why not? We'll make the exchange. Okay, we're doing better now, but this is not a good. This would not be the right time to rest on my laurels. Yes, I know birds. It's really scary how badly I'm getting beat up. It's built up a palpable fear and tension. I hope it'll last. Ow. he's still alive. Alright. Okay, so let's go ahead and... Okay, that's not going to help me anymore, not unless I wanted to do a second run through. Not going to lie, I kind of don't. Or rather, I should say, it's not that I don't, I just don't think I'll do well if I do. We're keeping it. I made a big deal out of Blazing Vault. It would look silly for me to not use it now. Owie. Alright, admittedly, the Blazing Vault isn't so good here, but... God damn. There we go, okay. Whew. Every time I come back to the game after taking a little hiatus, no matter how short the hiatus is, I always end up just getting my ass kind of kicked. That'll show me for only practicing for 500 hours. You know, as per usual, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the run. If you feel like using this build or some variation on it, let me know how it goes. Like I said, this wasn't my first successful build. This is just my first successful melee build. And even it kind of relies a little bit on some projectiles. And by that, I mean Bouncing Bubble. I would say Bouncing Surge kind of works equally as well, but it's a little bit less forgiving. If you miss with Bouncing Surge, you just whiff and have to wait a while. If you miss with the Bouncing Bubble, it's going to rebound. You'll have more opportunities. Bouncing Bubble, the Arcana of Opportunity and Hope. But I'm rambling at this point, so drop a comment, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, share the video with some of your friends, and you will catch me in the next one. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and I will be seeing you.